Zach here, full-time online reseller of underappreciated used goods, clothing, and shoes. And this morning I wanted to do something a little different. Wanted to share with you a little bit of inspiration, a little bit about myself, and some tips and tools to hopefully help increase your success with your own reselling business, especially if you're new to it or just getting into the game. So one of the big reasons I got into the reselling game is pretty simple. I was pretty sick and tired of the job I had, and for almost 15 years I did have a pretty stable medical job. And what I found was after doing it for so long, I just no longer felt any connection to it. And being a single father of several young children, it was getting ever increasingly hard to survive and pay the bills. And so I simply just wanted more for myself and especially more for my children. And so that's a big reason why I'm doing this. And I encourage you to think about why you want to get into reselling. Maybe you're tired of the people you're working with or working for. That's usually the case I find when I talk to other people that resell. They just wanted the independence of working for themselves. So if that sounds familiar and that's you, throw yourself into it. It's never too late to try something new. So a big question you need to ask yourself as you jump into the reselling game is, what is it that you want to sell? And for me, when I first started out, I wanted to sell vintage toys and cool old rusty gold and things that appealed to people from maybe their past. But as I moved through the reselling game, I found that it was hard sometimes to always source goods like that and to be able to source them consistently. So I actually kind of fell into selling clothes and shoes just by chance. As the seasons had transitioned away from summer and I could no longer find goods at garage sales, I had to start thrifting, and thrift stores always offered up a whole bunch of clothes and shoes. I found that a lot of other men were not into looking at clothes and shoes. They always raced towards the hard goods and were trying to find the things that appealed to me. So I probably fell into selling clothes and shoes by chance. I still like to consider myself an everything reseller, but I would say that about 80–85% of the profits I make from reselling do come from selling used clothing and shoes. So you got to ask yourself, why am I in this? What do I want to sell? And if you can find things that appeal to you, certain brands or certain type things that spark your interest, that keep you curious, that'll keep you in the game and keep you interested in doing this. And I think that's super important. So find something that you love to resell, something that interests you, and throw yourself into it. That's one huge tip I always give, and I've said that in past videos. So for the remainder of this video, I'd like to share with you some tips, tools, and also equipment I use to make my reselling business easier and more streamlined. Hopefully it helps. So as you start to get into reselling, you're going to want to track your inventory. And for me, when I first started out, I wanted to try to keep my overhead as low as possible. So I was able to get on Google and download Google Sheets, which is a free spreadsheet that you can customize to your own liking. And you're going to need to keep track of things like your purchase date, your purchase costs, your sales date, your item description, and it's helpful to run a SKU number so you can keep better track of your inventory. I suggest that, especially from the start. So as my reselling business continued to flourish and grow, I realized I needed something that would help automate my sales and expenses, and I leaned on the industry's best accounting software, which is My Reseller Genie. I'm not sponsored by My Reseller Genie, but I strongly believe in the product and especially the people backing it who created it. And so shout out to Paul and Faith, the creators of this software. This is a software that was made by resellers for resellers, and I paid $20 for the ultimate subscription, and it's incredibly helpful. What this does is it compiles all my sales and expenses and categorizes them. So at the end of the year, when I do my taxes, I have all my write-offs and my costs all allotted and categorized, and you just can't beat that. And it's $20 a month. And the customer support you will receive from Paul and Faith is exceptional. I've reached out to them a handful of times in the last handful of months I've been using this software, and they've been incredibly helpful. So try to use tools that'll make your business easier and more streamlined. Doing that will lessen the stress and hopefully help you to be out and sourcing goods and spending more time out doing the fun part of the job. So I want to keep talking further about some very important tools and equipment that I use for my reselling game. And If you're getting into reselling, I strongly suggest you think about buying a thermal printer. If you can get to be a top-rated seller, such as I am, and maybe even part of the international shipping program, you're gonna get some tremendous discounts by purchasing your shipping labels from eBay. I didn't do that soon enough, and I wish I had because it would have saved me a lot of money. But the thermal printer I truly believe in is, again, one of the industry's best, and that's Rollo. Rollo thermal printers are not cheap, but they're super helpful, and they also have some great customer support. And I also went ahead and purchased the Rollo scale, which is good to upwards of 100 and something pounds, I believe. So get good equipment when you're doing package after package and sending out hundreds of packages every month. You're gonna want something that's durable and that's gonna last a while. So shout out to Rollo, their people, and their product. It's the best. So as you get into reselling, you're gonna need some shipping materials. And as you can see down below here, I have the 3 most commonly used boxes and 2 poly mailers that I tend to use the very most, as well as some packing peanuts, Scotch tape, packing paper, and bubble wrap. And these are things that you're gonna have to buy and use often. And I can't suggest that you go heavy on things that are fragile with your packing peanuts and your bubble. You don't wanna break anything. That can get costly. But if you can whittle down the items that you use the most and buy them in quantity, you can get them for a lot cheaper online. So do that, save yourself some money, and remember, keep your receipts. All this stuff is a write-off at the end of the year when you do your taxes. So as your reselling business grows and your inventory flourishes, you're gonna continue to need more places and things to store your goods. For me, I was lucky. I had a very large house with several empty bedrooms and large walk-in closets that I've been able to convert into storage space. But because I am a clothing reseller mainly, I needed a handful of clothing racks as well as storage shelves. And I was able to probably find almost 90% of my racks and shelves just at garage sales. So that's a big tip. If you can find equipment for dirt cheap, do that. Keep your costs down, especially if you're just getting started out. You don't want to be paying full price for things that you can find cheap when you're already out looking for other goods. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, but I just wanna say, if you're thinking about getting into reselling, there's all kinds of free resources, such as YouTube, where you can watch content creators who resell and get more knowledge about how they do the game, what they sell, and just what to expect. And that's a big reason I'm here doing this video now, is because I like to give instructions and I like to give back. I know YouTube was tremendously helpful in educating me, and it's helped me to get to where I'm at and have the success I have now. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate you. If you made it this far, go ahead and reach out and hit that like button, make a comment and let me know what you think about it, or if anything, subscribe. Thanks again.